Okay, cool.
So as you could probably tell by the headings, I'm going to be talking about abuse, but I'm going to be talking about the third type of abuse. Almost everyone knows that about child abuse and domestic abuse, and most people realize that the victims are vulnerable because the abuser is more powerful than they are. But a lot of people forget about another aspect of our population that is also vulnerable, our own elderly friends and relatives. Unfortunately, elder abuse is quite common in society despite how few people know about it. We need to learn to identify and stop elder abuse so it doesn't continue to go untreated. In this speech, I will be taking a two-pronged approach. First, I will explain what different types of elder abuse consist of. And once you're able to recognize abuse, I will tell you about how to get help for the elder. So, elder abuse can be divided up into those 5 major categories, just like any other type of abuse. Physical abuse, usually what people think of when they think of abuse. Just general, like, harm, grabbing, like, it could be a lot of different things, physical. So generally looking for bruises or unexplained like falls and stuff like that is a good thing to look for that. Emotional can also be very extreme impact in the elder situation. If the caregiver is like excessively demeaning, or if they are critical, or there's lots of different aspects of that as well. One specific type of emotional abuse is isolation, which is quite prevalent actually, and in which the caregiver doesn't really allow the elder to talk to other people. This was actually semi in Happy Gilmore, if anyone saw that, when his mom was in the nursing home, and the attendants wouldn't let her talk to him or anything else without his presence. So once isolation tends to cause like a huge power difference, since you're the only person that they have to depend on, so it's actually quite cruel. Thirdly, financial abuse, which, as the California Department of Justice says in their pamphlet, Preventing and Reporting Elder Abuse, it can be as simple as taking money from a wallet, or as complex as manipulating a victim to turn over property to an abuser. So especially with like wills and stuff like that, and there's a lot of scam artists that target the elderly specifically for either telemarketing plans, or suddenly become their friend and get them to sign away some of their money or steal their identity and stuff like that, because elders can be incapacitated as much as like physically, and also they could lose their memory and stuff like that, which would make it harder to catch that. Another subset of financial abuse is healthcare abuse, which is actually perpetrated usually by healthcare providers, in which they double bill elderly patients for operations because they don't think anyone will catch it, so they get to pocket some of the money that they get from their healthcare plan. So that's a thing to look out for if you're if one of your relatives is in the hospital, to check and make sure that you're not being overbilled. Neglect is the predominant type of mistreatment, according to Harrison and Bell in July 2007, and basically consists of not meeting the elder's needs, whether they be food, water, whether they be social, and letting them be alone. But it differs from isolation in that you're not specifically isolating them. It's not intentional, you just not. If you're being trusted to take care of the elder, you're not supposed to be leaving them you're not fulfilling their duties. And lastly, sexual abuse, which may be unexpected, but every person can be subject to sexual abuse. And as many people know about sexual abuse, it's mainly about power, not about sex. So it's about asserting one's dominance over someone else. So that is also not unheard of in elder abuse cases. So how to stop elder abuse is, first of all, to tell people. A lot of elder abuse is very underreported, mainly because people don't tell people. Older people are more financially, emotionally, and even more physically dependent than their younger counterparts, according to November 2007 in his study on external barriers to help seeking, which basically means that the elder themselves is usually so dependent on the person that's abusing them, that they don't feel safe to come forward unless they might be like put in a home, or they might like not give them food, because they can't really do that stuff by themselves. So it's really important that relatives, as well as caregivers, but mostly relatives since we're not caregivers, intervene if they see any sort of symptoms of any of the types of abuse going on. A lot of people think that they're beyond their authority to step in, according to Birmingham in July 2008, which is a really unfortunate thing, because you don't want to put your neck out there and then be chastised for it if it doesn't work out. But really, it's this person's life is being ruined, then it's kind of important to be able to risk it and step out there and stand up for them. Secondly, there are several hotlines available in the San Luis County area. Most adult protection services agencies have different hotlines based on the county. In the San Luis area, it's 1-805-781-1790 during the day, and then at night you go to an 800 number, which is 838-1381. But if an actual event of abuse is going on, like especially physical, or like if they're being beaten or something right now, then of course 911 will work quite well, and should really be the first recourse if there is something active going on. Birmingham attempted to explain the rationale of elder abuse as older people are often seen as a burden in a way that children are not. However, even the most dependent elder has the right to live without abuse. You now know how both to identify the different types of elder abuse and how to stop its occurrence. So I hope that you feel comfortable fighting for the rights of your elderly friends and relatives if you ever notice that they're being abused.